I stopped watering my lemon tree. What happened in 4 weeks shocked me. When I tell people I deliberately stopped watering my lemon tree, they look at me like I've committed a gardening crime. Lemon trees are supposed to be thirsty, dramatic, and unforgiving, right? Miss a few watering days and they sulk, drop leaves, or threaten to die. That's the gardening myth most of us grew up with. But on Soil Stories, I don't just repeat myths, I test them. And what happened over the next 4 weeks completely rewired how I understand citrus, soil, and watering. This wasn't neglect, it was a conscious experiment rooted in observation, soil biology, and curiosity. What I saw shocked me, not because the tree suffered, but because it quietly thrived in ways I never expected. Why I decided to stop watering. Like many gardeners, I used to water on a schedule. Every few days, hose on, soil soaked, job done. My lemon tree looked fine, but something felt off. The leaves were lush yet soft, the growth fast but weak, and fruit drop was common. I started asking a dangerous question. What if I'm helping too much? In nature, lemon trees don't grow with someone standing over them with a watering can. Their roots are trained by scarcity, not abundance. So I decided to stop watering entirely and let the soil tell the story. Week 1, the panic phase. The first week was emotionally uncomfortable. The topsoil dried out quickly, and by day 4 it looked dusty and lifeless. This is where most gardeners panic and water again. But I resisted, because I wasn't watching the surface, I was watching the tree. The leaves didn't droop. There was no dramatic wilting. Instead, something subtle happened. The tree slowed down. New leaf growth paused, and the existing leaves became firmer, slightly darker, and less glossy. That was my first clue. The tree wasn't stressed, it was adjusting. What many gardeners don't realize is that constant watering keeps roots lazy. When water is always near the surface, roots stay shallow. When water disappears, roots go looking for it. Week 2. The roots take control. By the second week, something fascinating was happening underground. While I couldn't see the roots, I could see the effects. The tree became more stable in the soil, even during strong winds. That told me deeper roots were engaging. The leaves began to curl slightly, not a distress curl, but a protective response to reduce moisture loss. This is often mistaken for dehydration damage, but it's actually a sign of intelligent self-regulation. The tree was conserving energy, not collapsing. Even more surprising was what didn't happen. There was no leaf drop, no yellowing, no dieback. Instead, the tree looked calmer, less forced, and more balanced. Week 3 is when the soil itself entered the conversation. When I gently scratched the surface early one morning, the soil underneath was cool and slightly moist. That told me something important. Moisture was being held deeper down, protected by organic matter and microbial life. Because I wasn't flushing the soil with constant water, beneficial microbes weren't being drowned or washed away. Fungal networks had time to establish. Earthworms stayed active instead of retreating. The soil began acting like a sponge instead of a sieve. This is where many people get watering wrong. They treat soil like an empty container instead of a living system. Once the biology is right, the soil works with the plant, not against it. By week 4, I expected at least some visible stress. Instead, I got the opposite. The lemon tree pushed out a fresh flush of new growth, slower than before, but thicker, stronger, and more compact. The leaves were smaller but tougher, built to last. Even more shocking was the fruit behavior. Instead of dropping immature lemons like it used to, the tree held on to them. The remaining fruits began sizing up steadily without sudden spurts followed by stress. This is the part nobody tells you. Overwatering often causes more fruit drop than underwatering. Rapid growth creates internal imbalance. Slow, steady growth builds strength. Lemon trees don't want frequent shallow watering. They want deep roots, stable moisture zones, and time to adapt. When we water too often, we interrupt that process. We train trees to depend on us instead of their own systems. This doesn't mean you should never water your lemon tree. It means watering should be intentional, not habitual. Deep, infrequent watering encourages roots to grow downward, making the tree more drought-resistant and nutrient-efficient. It also taught me that leaf appearance alone can be misleading. A slightly dull, firm leaf is often healthier than a soft, shiny one. Stress-free doesn't always mean strong. So, when does stopping watering actually work, and when doesn't it? Well, this experiment worked because the soil was alive, there was organic matter, mulch, and good structure. But, if your lemon tree is sitting in pure sand or in compacted clay with no biology, suddenly stopping watering can honestly cause real damage. Climate plays a big role too. Extreme heat, newly planted trees, or lemons in containers all need different strategies. Young trees just haven't developed those deep roots yet, and pots dry out much faster than ground soil ever will. The lesson here isn't to copy what you see blindly, but to really observe what's happening. Gardening isn't about following rules, it's about reading the signals your plants and soil give you. Alright, so how do you actually use this in your own garden? First, try breaking out of that strict schedule mindset. Water your tree when it needs it, not just because the calendar says so. Always check the soil moisture below the surface, not just on top. Mulch heavily. This really helps protect moisture and keeps your soil life thriving. If you want to cut back on watering, do it gradually. Extend the time between watering sessions instead of stopping all at once. Watch how your tree responds, because honestly, the plant will tell you everything, if you're paying attention. And, most importantly, trust your soil. Healthy soil holds water, feeds roots, and buffers stress way better than any fertilizer or strict watering routine ever could. You know, this lemon tree experiment wasn't really about water at all, it was about control. The more we interfere, the weaker our plants become, but the more we support natural systems, the stronger they grow. Here on Soil Stories, this is what we're always digging for. Those hidden truths right beneath our feet that can change how we garden forever. Sometimes, honestly, doing less is the most powerful thing you can do. If this story challenged what you thought you knew about watering, go ahead and share it with another gardener who's still chained to a hosepipe. Subscribe to Soil Stories for more real-world experiments, soil truths, and garden lessons you honestly won't hear anywhere else. Your soil has stories to tell, so let's keep listening.